All right. Thanks for joining. I had a stream up earlier and it didn't work out well. Apparently my sound was muted, and I had some issues with my streaming software. But now we're good and ready to rock and roll. So tonight I'm going to cover the tools that I will be using for the solo D&D 2024 5E 5.5 GMless run that I plan on doing, and kind of showing how I do it. Um, this way, if someone else wants to do it, they can, as well as a tool that I ended up creating in Excel. It's simple, it's nothing complicated, nothing fancy. I'm no guru or anything like that. So, um, let's get on to the resources. So, first, I'm going to show the physical resources that I'm using. Firstly, starting off with Knave 2nd edition. Um, this was PDF purchase printed and printed small. And this has a bunch of great tables. I think this was written by, I want to give the artist credit, and I'm not sure if I have the artist name. But Knave 2nd edition has a ton of tables. Ben Milton. Ben Milton was the writer, Peter Mullen artist, Kyle Latino maps. So Julie Milton editing, Jacob Hurst editing. Anyway, this is a great book for random tables. Knave 2nd edition, I use it at my tables frequently and often to cover things that I may not anticipate, and it works out super well. Next book that I'll be using to help me assist, or to help assist me in the running of our solo campaign, is going to be Tables Fables 2 by Madeline Hale. Tables Fables 2, lots of great random tables in here as well. So this will be, something that I may use as well. It covers wilderness travel, ships, islands, ocean travel, NPCs and enemies, items, adventures, dungeon generator. I mean, it's got just a gamut of things. So definitely looking forward to trying to use some of this as things are running as well. One thing is I'm not pre-prepping. Besides this, the first initial game, I am pre-prepping a little bit to kind of get some kind of basic story behind where the characters are and what they're doing, so that we can kind of set that up. And then after that, it'll be kind of on the fly narrative based on prompts that you'll see shortly. So next one is the Game Master's Book of Random Encounters that I purchased at Five and Below by Jeff Asworth. It's like the miniature edition, super. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of pages. It's only 100 pages. This one has a lot of cool random tables in it as well. So, Game Master's Book of Random Encounters. The Game Master's Book of Astonishing Tables by Ben Egloff. Nice big purple book. This thing is really good for assisting. I've actually used some of the tables in here that I'm about to show in a different tool. But this will also assist as we play, as I might need to resource some random tables as to what's going on, and we don't have anything prepped beforehand. Nextly, we have Out of the Abyss, the 5E module. Out of the Abyss is going to help, being that the setting is in the Underdark, and our two main characters are drow. Are they protagonists or antagonists? I have no idea. That's what we're going to find out. But Out of the Abyss covers a lot of tables that we may need and will help us get those tables for Underdark settings, Underdark travel, and some of that stuff we've already put in, and major cities. Now, a lot of it's going to be homebrewed as we do it, but this is a great base that we'll have as well to kind of set up some of that lore in the Underdark. We have the Player's Handbook, the 2024 Player's Handbook. So definitely wanted to make sure we grab that for helping with the rules. I'm not a huge stickler to the rules, but they are there for a reason. We are going to use them, and they are going to assist us. I can say that I do know there's a couple things that I may house rule if they're not already changed in the 2024 edition. For example, potion drinking takes full action, and if you take the full action to drink the potion, you are fully healed. The max of the potion effect, rather than rolling. I'm just going to give them the full effect. especially being I don't have a healer in this party. As in the last video we saw, they were randomly rolled. Well, the second character was. The first character was not, because he kind of had a little bit of a plot developed. So I used some of that, but all the stats and stuff were randomly rolled for him. And then last, the Dungeon Master's Guide, 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. So we have that. Another guiding force. I'm sure there are tables in here. I haven't combed through this whole thing yet. I think I've read only to the chapter 3. So I will be using the random tables from this book as well. But those are the primary books that I'll be using here as we play to kind of generate to as we continue on and look for what is going to occur. So we have that. Now let's go to the primary tool that I'll be using, and I will be sharing this screen as I run the game, but I wanted to be transparent as to what's going on, what can be seen, and how it works. So let's go there. All right. So what we have here is a little tool that I've created in Excel. This tool will help cover a lot of what needs to occur in the game as it occurs. So I have different tabs. There are a lot of tables put into this that were they're all randomly generated as we play. So this first tab is a narrative guide. This helps me determine the narrative, as well as basically is the GM for me as we run this game based on augurs. I used these ideas from a book that I think Exalted Funeral sells, written by Alex T., called Disciples of Bone and Shadow, out of the Conquered Sun edition, which I purchased. And so that the augurs came out of that book, and they're very good. And so basically what it is we have a narrative that whenever an action should occur, so when something occurs that will change the story, we ask ourselves, how likely is that action to occur? So then down here we have almost certain, very likely, likely, equal chances, unlikely, very unlikely, almost impossible. So let's say we are coming up to, and I put some examples here, and the reason I put this is more for myself. This is my tool, but it helps me to follow my process. So when we set the scene, we'll set the scene as an example. Our hero continues along the mountain ridge. So our heroes are coming. They come to a mountain ridge. They're heading to an ancient monastery at the top of a plateau. We may ask ourselves something like, there's a rope bridge, let's say, that is in front of them, or something like that. How likely is this rope bridge, how likely is it to be held and nothing occur? It doesn't fall, it doesn't break, it doesn't, whatever it is. How likely is that to occur? And we'll say, oh yeah, that's very likely to occur. So then I'm just going to refresh this here based on this tool I have, and this randomly rolls for me and says yes. Now, I will be doing physical dice rolls for like some things. Some things I'm going to leave here to the tool because it helps save time. So there will be physical dice rolls, but there also will be rolls here that occur. And you can see here in the code, it's just a random number between 1 and 10. So being that, how likely is this bridge to not sway, not break, we get a good chance that it's not going to do that. It is very likely to not do that, right? That's what we asked for. So then we have qualifier rolls that come with that. So let's look. Okay. How likely is this bridge, in this case we see, how likely is this bridge to, as we cross it, not fall and collapse? Well, no. It's not likely to withstand itself, and most likely may fall, right? But something else is going to happen. What's that but? So right below it we have a complication. What's the complication? I change to the physical environment, weather, avalanche, the bridge collapses. And that's so funny that randomly occurred here. So we could say that as our party goes and We have our leader Valzen, who takes, we'll say he's in front with Mithara behind him, going to cross this bridge. And they get to this bridge, and they see that it's kind of rickety and swaying. As they go to cross the bridge and make a few steps, um, the bridge starts to collapse, and Valzen quickly has to run back and try and jump. And we may say that he may have to make a save for that. And that will help determine that narrative. So now we know that the bridge collapsed where they originally planned to cross that bridge. They can't anymore. We have to find a new way around to get to this monastery that we saw up on the hill. So now we may go and deviate from there and say, okay, well, do we find another path around in the area that may get us there in equal or less time? And I would say, yeah, there's equal chances for that. But in this case, no. No, we are not going to, that's not going to occur. So, okay, we know that we can't get there in equal or less time. We're going to have to find another way around, or a whole new way to get there. All the time we spent, wasted. Could there be a possible cave nearby, or something that may assist us in getting there? Yeah, it's likely. Yes, there is a cave system nearby. Okay, great. We know that there's a cave system nearby. How about we go in that cave system? Is there likely to be anything in this cave system as we approach looking at us? I'm going to say that that's very likely. But in this case, no. There is nothing kind of staring at us currently from that cave. And for now, we are safe to approach and go inside. So that's kind of how that would go for that method there, and how the narrative is going to be generated for that. Okay. So this tool here kind of also gives me a little bit of a random treasure that could be rolled if one is found. An action theme prompt, assist action. These all randomly get generated here. Decrease location. Sometimes I may need a prompt. I don't have anything. My mind goes blank. What can I use to guide me forward? Breach opposition. Guide opportunity, right? So maybe this is a genuinely good opportunity to guide us to that monastery by going through this cave. Okay, cool. Let us proceed this way as opposed to trying to go around. So then we have other things. Need help creating a mission. These are all tools that I've built for myself that will assist in this Excel spreadsheet here. So the next one is a hex guide. This hex guide is basically going to assist with hexploration. Initially, this is not going to be a thing that we will start having, but we will use it. Or there will be an orientation roll. Do we know where we're going? We set ourselves and orient a certain way. Is there a lost roll? Did we get lost? If we did, which direction are we heading in? Typically, also, when you fail your orientation roll, there's some kind of complication that occurs. In this case here, let's say we're going from, we want to go north, and we know from our location now we need to head home. All right, so it's a couple days travel north. We try to orient ourselves and don't quite orient ourselves or pass our check. Okay, well then we know we're lost, and this is going to tell us where we head. Okay, so instead of north, we're heading northwest. And the complication might be that we wander into a land affected by powerful death magic. In this case, we're in the Underdark, so we'll say a setting that might have powerful death magic. And we arrive at the next location extremely fatigued and need to set up camp. Whenever we're moving, we may have to backtrack, so this backtrack will determine if we have a random creature encounter. There are biomes that will be used. Let's say we come outside of the setting of the Underdark. There are different biomes, wetlands, mountains, things like that. We would use those. We have more of the action theme prompts here for anything we need. What actually occurs in the hex? There's different things that I have here that will generate to assist what will happen in that hex. So let's see here. So in this case, there's glow spores. A sudden wind has caused a nearby patch of fungi to release a cloud of spores. These attach to all characters and cause them to glow in the dark for the next 10 hours. That would be terrible in the Underdark. And then we could also have party meets 1d4 gray oozes clinging to walls and ceilings that take the party unaware. Okay, so not only are we glowing, we have some gray oozes that want to possibly come and attack us within this little hex that we've traveled, so much distance or so much time to do. Um, After we move and resolve the hexes, there will be foraging opportunities. We can forage to figure out what we get. And if the forage fails, there's also a mishap that could happen there, as well as when we set up camp. Did we set up camp successfully, as well as what could happen there? So what I'm trying to do is, and I may need to fix this one here. I don't know if it's pulling in any food. It keeps giving me 0 and 0, so I'll have to fix that before next time we run. But so this is just the exploration basically. This exploration will help guide me through everything that needs to occur so that I don't have to consult all these tables. It's literally right here in front of me. Oh, we have an encounter. Awesome. And then there's this right here covers the Out of the Abyss encounters. So I can choose which one I want here. Let's see, I'm trying to generate an encounter over here real quick. The encounters in Out of the Abyss don't happen as frequently. Just making this small 1 second. Okay, so like right over here, encounter. We go through a hex and there is a possible cave dungeon possibility, meaning we may have the ability to explore a cave that could possibly end up into a full-size dungeon. Maybe it's something we need in there. Maybe it's something we don't. And something that I think that is important that I neglected to talk about. So as we're exploring dungeons, exploring, we will set milestones for whatever it is we need to do so that we know that we've achieved our end goal or we've found what we need. Example, we currently just came out of town with a quest to rescue a girl that was seen being taken by monsters northwest 3 days away. So I would say, okay, well, how heavy is this on the party to find this girl? How heavy is that milestone? And I usually would use a number between 1 and 10. So I'll say to find her, maybe it's a 3 or 4, including the time to get there. We have an idea. They said it went northwest. So as we travel, every time we successfully travel, we'll mark something off our milestone tracker. Milestone 1 completed, milestone 2 completed, milestone 3. Once the third milestone is completed, whatever hex or location, room, whatever it is in the dungeon, that's going to be where we set the scene for the actual finding of the person or finding of the item, as well as we will then roll narratively to see, back on that first table here, what am I likely to find this little girl in good health, and is she okay? So in this case, let's say it says no. Well, okay, is she alive? And I'm going to say she's very likely to be alive. Yes, okay, she is alive. Is she hurt? No, she's not hurt. Okay. Is she poisoned, or is she poisoned? Does she appear to be poisoned? Yes, she does appear to be poisoned. And then this complication here I might use that says something that PCs think to be one way is another. So we think she's poisoned, but there's something else that's wrong with her. We don't know. So we went all this way to save this little girl. She is alive, but something's wrong with her. And she's not responding. We need to bring her back. All of that based on just these generated tables. And then we might have something here that's called avoid opportunity. So, we could use that action prompt there to generate that. So anyway, that covers that. That covers the hex counters, and that covers all of this stuff here. The next thing we'll do is sometimes we might generate a random settlement, right? So this tool will help generate a random settlement randomly for us. Right here, generate a settlement name, Gloomspire Quarters, first impression, bursting with activity and commerce. What is the ruling government, group, or leadership? It's a priesthood. What are their settlement problems? A terrifying beast haunts the place. But right now, they have low stock. The town supplies are running low due to some problems with bandits on the road. So not only are they having trouble with the beast, there's bandits going on also impacting this town. I have a random thing if I were to be pickpocketed or I pickpocket someone, what's in their pockets. We can also get that out of Jeff Ashworth's book, or excuse me, not Jeff Ashworth, Ben Elgoff, the Random's Book of Astonishing Tables. Strange customs, no alcohol when the sun is up permitted. So like things like that that might help to the narrative are a little fun. And there's just maybe an organization or a name or goal. Maybe this priesthood is named Order of the Ebony Hand, and they guard a terrible secret within this settlement. Um, could always feed into story plots, story points that will assist us, and you can see how this will complete completely random as I generate another one. Stalactite Mizarlor. First impressions, it's foul smelling. This one also has a priesthood leading it with another bandit problem. Random event here. There's an invading force, and the settlement isn't being invaded by an enemy army. Um, the citizens wear masks. It is an insult to show one's face. So these are like different things that will just occur. Fellow glow hold. The settlement is just a temporary one. A few tents and shelters built with haste. A syndicate runs this. Terrifying beast haunts this place. There's a festivity going on within the little camp right now. What's this one? At the age of 10, all the people here get a tattoo that will protect one's soul from possession. So, different things that could assist with settlement and settlement generation for sure. Next, random NPCs. We may meet a random NPC or a group of NPCs. So let's take a look. So right here, what do we see? What's going on? A traveling group. They're drow. They're the same size as my party. So we have two. So there are two of them. Looks like they're both males, or I can say one's male and a female. They are soldiers and hostile. They're old. A descriptor of them is fast, so maybe they speak real fast and patient. They're hostile. Their motivation is to understand magic. So they are coming through, and soldiers maybe not really understanding magic and magic prowess and want to just get that knowledge to help better educate them. So they may go about and do something like that. If they were to join me, sometimes there's a combat behavior as to what the NPC may do in combat. NPC attempts to negotiate, bribe, threat, plea with the PCs. And this is all randomly generated here as to things that could occur. A hostile goblin who's an acolyte. But maybe they're hostile but friendly. They may not be hostile toward me. They might just be kind of hostile. And it's a young goblin that's speaking, I would say, super fast. And maybe they're fearful of death. That's the reason that they're kind of hostile or coming off a little hostile. Hostile doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to fight. Someone can be hostile and appear off as hostile, but a fight doesn't necessarily occur, right? So doesn't mean that a fight has to occur right away. Alright. Then lastly we have the dungeon creator. So I most likely plan on pulling up randomly created dungeons off some tool off the internet, so that we'll have all of our rooms and everything basically so that we can follow that path, however the dungeon layout is, right? Dungeon layout it's important, but it's going to be more or less whatever random map I may pull for that day. But these are the guides that will kind of take us to how the dungeon process flows. So again, we set a milestone. As we hit each milestone, milestones will be accomplished in a dungeon by finding clues. So as we roll here for the random roll for what occurs in the room, it'll tell us if we get a clue. So right here, let's say we were in a corridor. Well, we grab a clue. Let's say our milestone was 4 to find the orb of Draketh. Well, now we have one clue that will help us to find the location within this place for the Orb of Drageth. And once we get that fourth milestone or fourth clue, we will enter the room that has the Orb of Drageth. And once we hit that room, there will be a boss encounter or a more difficult encounter that we will have to fight. So like right now, my character's being level 1. I was told a half a CR is probably the best thing, so I might do a CR1 fight for them to get them. So like a Kobold Scale Sorcerer is guarding the Orb of Drageth, and we have to overcome that Kobold to try and get it, or find a way to not let him know we're there and steal it. So we set the milestones, we know what the end goal is, then we generate the room structure. That room structure is most likely going to come from some kind of pre-generated map we find on the web. Then we enter it and read the room description. So right here we have a room description that will help us. Where is it? This room is a tentacles room. It feels elder or old, and there's a miscellaneous item of note. So that one I don't really like too much. I might roll it again. This room is a blood room, and it feels charred. There's a fireplace of note. So we walk into a room covered in blood. It's charred, and has a fireplace that kind of stands out in this room. Well, what about this fireplace is special? And that's where we might go back to our narrative guide and say, does this fireplace have any magic? Yeah, it does. But, and so now we got an extreme version here. So when this says extreme, that's telling us that whatever the but is, but a change to the physical environment occurs. So maybe that fireplace is a portal and demons come out of it or something. I don't know what, right? That's something that we would, maybe we can look at the action, help riches. This fireplace starts to communicate with us and says it desires to consume gold and will share a secret with us. Okay, well, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can get a clue out of that fireplace creature, demon, mimic, whatever it is, right? So anyway, so we set the milestone, generate the room, find out what the room contents are. Sometimes it's just the room contents contain a creature, and then we will have to fight the creatures. Sometimes the room generates a clue. Sometimes the room generates an NPC. What does that NPC want? We don't know. Another creature encounter. Sometimes rooms have treasures. Sometimes rooms have traps. Sometimes rooms are empty. Sometimes rooms have secret doors. This will all be randomly determined here. Then, based on the room, we also have doors, and it'll tell us what the door's contents are if we need to. There's a wooden door. It's locked, and we have to bash through it. Is the door locked? Yes. So we're either gonna have to bash through it or pick it. Okay, got it. So once we go through, the room's been generated. We find out what the room contents are. We go to the next room. Is the doors locked? Go into the next room. A basic dungeon crawl, and that's resolved. We go to the next room, and then it's just the repeat as to what could happen narratively with our two players, as they're, in this case, they were looking for the Orb of Drageth. And who knows what they may combat. So, again, this is really just, I call it's the dungeon creature content here that'll help generate what occurs in a dungeon. Here, the NPC tool, that what is the basic NPC and how will it harm? What will it do for us? And I always put action theme prompts here because maybe we need a little more context. We need something to help narratively draw us. And that's one of the things I'm hoping for guests as they join the stream, is to live chat with me and give me also, hey, I think this would be a good one. Yeah, Harm Life. Let's roll with that. You think that's what Harm Life would be? Good, let's do that. And we would roll with that together. So again, the settlement, the hex guide, and the narrative. So that basically would cover all the functions that we would need to run a game without a GM, with a lot of random tables that'll help keep things random and us move narratively through this story and generate this story together randomly and live. And sometimes things won't just come organically. I may have to sit for a moment and think about it, or need some help, which I'm hoping viewers will help with. So anyway, this is something that I designed. I'm kind of proud of it. It's nothing great. I know there's a lot of words. A lot of these mainly are for me when I was designing it, to help kind of keep my mind focused, and I'm focused on one thing at a time as I did it. But it helps me to also process this if I ever need to read back and kind of process how I go through the hex, how I go through the dungeon, what is my narrative guide. So that kind of basically covers all the tools that I'll be using for the 5e solo run. Feel free to leave comments with questions that you may have about these tools. Now, mind you, we may see repeats. Some of these tables are only D20s. Some tables are D10s. Some tables are D100s. So there could be many, many different results, especially when they combine two D20 results. Obviously, you can give a multitude of combinations. So yeah, leave me some feedback for anything you may have questions about prior to. I'm hoping to do the first live actual run with our two characters, Valzen and Mithara, who are husband and wife, within a week and a half. Just trying to narrow down a few more things pertaining to the introduction and where Valzen is currently. So anyway, as always, please like, subscribe, and comment to help me get some more following, so we can get this more interactive and have others contribute to the live stream as I do, with comments and such that we could use to help guide our party and narratively guide it. I would love that. I would love all of your input as we run these and kind of move forward and help guide this party. It's the best thing to have that collaborative input. So thanks so much, and I look forward to talking with you all soon.